What is up, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at this knife right here. It's a pretty one. This is the Spyderco Gayle Bradley. This knife I've only had for about a few weeks. I think you guys may have seen my unboxing of it, and I've already since sold it. Mostly because there's one knife I really want to get. I need the cash for. And this knife is not exactly for me personally, but if you go into stuff like the blade forums and all the knife forums, you just see absolutely positive reviews on this knife, and I will have to agree with those. There's just a few things personally for me are a little bit off, but there's nothing I can actually fault the knife with, so I'll tell you that right now. This knife is a really high value. That's the first thing a lot of people talk about when they see this knife. Really high value. What you got here is carbon fiber scales, and this is Sage 1 type finish, so it's actually relatively grippy. Compared to the flat glossy, something like the Cali 3. This is very grippy. It's not, super grippy, but it's definitely more than just like a hard, sort of like laminated carbon fiber. And for the blade steel, they're giving you CPM M4. Okay, that's the top of the line cutlery steel right now. That's just top of the line. So they're combining carbon fiber, which is actually, what you consider associate with more expensive knives, with CPM M4, probably the most highly regarded cutlery steel on the market right now, and they're putting it in a $100 knife. I mean, this knife it's not 100. I got this for 90 on the secondary market, but you will find these for about $120 new. But I mean, this is just a phenomenal value. I mean, per dollar, this knife is just great. So let's start with the blade. The blade is 3 and... Oh, let's do some specs, actually. Length overall is 8 and 5/64 inches. Length closed is 4 and 11/16 inches. Hole diameter is 1/2 inch. Blade length is 3 and 7/16 of an inch. Cutting edge, because the choil is reduced by to 3 and 3/16 of an inch. Blade thickness is 1/8 of an inch. And weight is 5.5 ounces. So let's start with the blade first, objectively. Beautiful shaped blade. I really love this blade shape. It's sort of reminiscent of the Spyderco Stretch, but since this is a Gayle Bradley design, I don't think it's based off that. It's just its own individual design. You got a nice amount of belly here, definitely a lot of belly. And you got that really nice stretch shape. If you have something like the Endura, well, this just has more steel towards the tip, which does make it stronger. It takes away more metal from here and kind of redistributes it towards the tip, makes it stronger over there. This knife does have a very strong tip. You can see here. The swedge here takes a little bit of metal off, but the tip is still very thick. I mean, it's not the best poker. But the blade shape is very nice, very good for everyday cutting, and they do have a very nice tall, actually I don't know if this is flat, a nice tall flat grind on the CPM M4. It comes razor sharp, just great, beautiful satin finish too. The grind is very well done, and I like how Spyderco sticks pretty consistently with the 1/8 blade steel. You can see here on the Manix 2, I think it's also 1/8. But 1/8 is good because you don't need something like a quarter or whatever Strider gives you. What's good about 1/8 is the fact that you're going to have enough strength in the blade, and you're going to have enough, it's not going to be too thick that when you come down with the grind, it's, unwieldy, hard to cut with. So that's a good trade-off. One thing I've noticed about the Taiwanese-made Spydercos is is the Spyderco logo here. It's not very well done. That's the only thing I can probably fault fit and finish wise on this knife. It just looks kind of dim and not very lusterful. Let me see if I can show you guys a little bit of a comparison. You see how it's just on the blade for this one, but here it's kind of dull in some areas and bright in some areas, and depends how you move in the light. So, you know, that's just a small thing. Moving on to the handle, you got a full big handle of carbon fiber, and this is where the knife it's just a bit not for me, ergonomics wise. Just like any Spyderco, it hugs your hand very well. But what I found personally is when I'm grabbing the knife, like there's kind of like this gap here. Like I have to, and it's really kind of strange. What you get with something like the Manix 2 is it hugs. There's no like gaps in terms of contact with the hand. Everything's in contact with the hand. But when you get the Gayle Bradley, there's sort of like a gap here, and I just feel like I should, you know, come down here, and it's kind of uncomfortable. And I don't really like the handle swells here, personally. However, the carbon fiber is very nice. Very nice gleam, and this does make a very good gentleman's tactical. You know, I guess you could use this as a dress knife, but if you do start cutting with it, it can do a lot of work. The carbon fiber has these, well, the liners are proud, which means that they are extended over the carbon fiber. That means the stainless steel is a little bit bigger than the carbon fiber. And I actually don't really like that, personally. I'm not sure why they did that, to be honest. But basically, here on the Manix 2, it does have proud liners, but it's only for jimping purposes. Everything here is flush, and the liner is only larger than the G10 scale when there's jimping. But here, there's no really jimping around on the handle. It's just smoothness. So I'm not sure why they did that, but yeah. So it's a little bit off on the ergonomics for me, but it's not an uncomfortable knife when I use it. It's just, you know, it's not exactly for me, I guess. The lockup is very solid. I mean, this has a really thick liner lock, verging on a frame lock. Here it is next to a tenacious. And you can see the liner is like twice as thick. I mean, this thing is, yeah, just as thick as a lot of frame locks out there. Very easy to disengage because it is proud. That's one good thing about it. There's a little bit jimping here. Doesn't really help too much, but the jimping up here does help. But the liner jimping doesn't really help too much. You can see the attention of detail they put into this knife, even though it's like a more affordable $90 knife. You know, you don't really need this sort of cutout here, but that makes it a lot easier for your finger to move in and move the liner over. It's just those little touches from Spyderco that, you know, just great. It's a very smooth knife. When I got it, I was really surprised on how smooth it is. It just rides on glass phosphor bronze bushings. 5.5 ounces. It's a little hefty. It actually carries heavier than its weight. This knife, well, I mean, this knife is a lot lighter. It's about the same size, but I feel like this knife is bigger too. And this one, I don't think 5.5 ounces is really all that heavy. I've carried a lot of other knives heavier, you know, Benchmade MPR. Well, that's a classic example of a heavy knife. But even this tenacious is only 2 ounces lighter, but it feels like 1/10 of the knife of this thing. This thing is just hefty, which is good. I mean, it just gives you that feeling of strength, but it also kind of carries a little. It kind of drags your pants down a little bit. The liners are really well done. I really like this. They polish the liners all around, nice gleam, and they have that very nice dumbbell standoffs right there. Very classy looking. Centering is perfect. Lockup play-wise, there is no play. There's a little bit of left to right, but with liner locks, I tend to see a lot of left to right and no up and down. The clip is positionable to all four sides, all four positions, which I think is a really good job from Spyderco. It's not too hard to do that, and I like how they, you know, accommodate for all the users. The clip here is, it's kind of funky. It's not a black stainless steel clip, kind of like the Delicas have that they baked on or like painted on the black. This one's a sort of a different finish. I'm not sure what it is. It's like they anodized it as opposed to, you know, sort of painting it, so it doesn't really scratch the color off, but you can scratch the clip. It's kind of interesting. It's a good clip though, I mean, and with the carbon fiber, it's not too grippy as to, you know, rip up your pocket, but it will stay clipped to your pocket pretty well. The size of this, I mean, I think it's a good knife for EDC, mostly because of the size, but it's also a little bit handle heavy, which means that it's not really as maneuverable as something like a Manix 2, simply because it's kind of awkward when you're moving around a really heavy handle. I like to have the weight a little bit more in the blade so I can direct the blade as opposed to like my hand. You know, it's kind of weird right there. But overall, this is a great knife. The only reason I have to sell is because I want money for another knife, and a little bit on the ergos and a little bit on the proud liners. But fit and finish is top notch. There's only one thing with the Spyderco logo, but everything else is absolutely top notch. I mean, this thing is per dollar probably the best knife I've ever owned. You know, in this price range at least. And definitely, if you have the money, check it out. The thing with this knife is that it's really popular. So you can probably easily sell it off if you end up not liking it. I mean, Taiwanese made, who cares? This thing is just great. Yeah, so definitely check it out. I do recommend it. Try it out for yourself first. If you don't like the ergos, then just pass it on. But I guarantee you, if you like the ergos, you will find this, you know, one of the best blades you've ever owned. And that's what I've seen on blade forums. People love this knife. Anyways, more vids to come in the near future. See you guys later. Peace.